The best environment friendly place I have ever seen in Kerala is in Palakkad, called Chinganjira. It has not yet become a tourist place. What attracted me was the silence, and when I entered into that place, a silence came to my mind. There is an undescribable silence. There's a huge lake, like it is 3 or 4 acres wide, and then it's covered by very huge banyan trees, and all these banyan trees come together to make a bower. I remember when it was very hot, but I felt like entering into an air-conditioned room, and all the birds were there in the trees, but still that silence of nature was felt. I was sitting there for a long time, enjoying the peace. Actually, the ambience is great because we can see high rocks there, very tall rocks, and these rocks make a boundary for this place. And adding to the pleasure, we can see 7 or 6 waterfalls and falling down from the Niliyampati. And these waterfalls flow as a river for some time, and then they become very small streams, and then they enter into this lake. And you feel that you are in the lap of nature. Kerala is the best place because there is a lot of nature still in Kerala. We have got mountains, we have got rivers, we have got waterfalls, and we have got long, beautiful beaches, forests, and the rain. We have got mist, and the people are very friendly, especially they know how to treat a visitor. If you come to any destination in Kerala, let it be Munnar or Ponmudi, the Shangumugam beach, the Kovalam beach, the people there are interested in you. They know that it is because of you that they can live in a very good atmosphere. Well, I was talking about Chinganjira. I went there by 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the morning with some friends, and I sat there for a long meditation. My heart was full. It was so wonderful. There were a lot of spiritual vibrations in that place. Then the whole thing changed. I saw some people coming in cars and auto rickshaws, and they brought with them some poultry, some gods and all these things. They came with their families and all that, and they bowed to the temple deity there. That's not exactly a temple. There's a small idol under the great banyan tree. And then it is so surprising. These people started killing these birds, and they were killing the gods, and within half an hour it was just a hotel. They were preparing meat and all that. They were making all these things under these banyan trees. You know how unfriendly this is. This fire is not something that the trees can understand. But they made all these things under the tree, and it was full of smoke. And then some young people came with liquor and all that. They started drinking the liquor, they started dancing, making noise, and some cars were there. They were opening their loudspeakers. Within 1 hour, the whole environment changed. In the name of God, what they were doing is they were killing the birds and they were killing the gods, and they put all the waste in that water. I can't forget that change that came to the nature when I was there. It was terrible. The whole atmosphere changed into something that made me cry inside. One thought that comes to my mind is a ritual that we used to have in our house. My mother used to wake up early morning, takes her bath, and then she makes a design, a type of powder outside the house. I had asked my mother why you are putting all these designs in front of the house in the courtyard. She explained to me, this rice powder design is not for welcoming any deity, or it is not for making the house beautiful. She said, there are ants eat this powdered rice. Then she said, it is from the blessings of the ants that our house remains in prosperity, we are very wealthy and all that. And then she couldn't explain more. So I asked my father. Then he said, see, it is the way our ancestors teach us to love environment. It is our duty to care even the smallest creature in our world. In the afternoon, the mother takes a cup of rice and all these things, and she places it for the crows. The crows should come and eat it. Then we used to keep small vessels, water outside so that the birds can drink. And of course, by night, before the door closes, father or mother comes to the gate and ask whether there is anyone around who has not taken the supper. And suppose somebody comes and say, I didn't have the supper, then it is the duty of the father to invite him and give him the food. Only after giving the food, the father has the right to take supper. You see, in all these things we find one thing. Our ancestors cared for nature. They cared for the trees, they cared for the birds, they cared for the animals, they cared for the human beings. We have to share everything. Whatever good we have to share. That's a lesson that the mother and the father taught me in the early stages of my life. I think I have really benefited from such a feeling. Our thoughts should change. Our attitude towards change. I am sitting in a chair. I am sitting under a fan. I am enjoying a lot of things. Today I had my lunch, I took some rice. I never think of the rice. I take it for granted that in the afternoon I have to take some food. But this rice, it might have come from Haryana or Punjab or outside Kerala. He should have shed his tears and blood and sweat for that. And that's how it became a paddy field. And from that paddy field came this rice. And of course, it went through so many processes and at last became rice, and I ate it today. Similarly, everything that we have now is connected with some other people. Somebody burned all his night oil to make such a thing. We live in the world for 100 years, say, and then we leave. Don't you think we should give a rent for this? And all this nature was preserved by our ancestors. They have made this beautiful place more beautiful. So I believe it is my duty. So I should work hard to make this nature more friendly, more natural, more beautiful. The lack of such a thing, such a thought, such a feeling is the most unfortunate thing in the world. I am living in Trivandrum. It kept world standard in cleanliness and the water was very pure. But now everything has changed. Roads are dirty. Then our government and our reformists and all these people, they have tried the best to find a solution for the waste materials. Almost all the big cities in the world, they have this waste. But they have wonderful mechanisms and arrangements and refining techniques to take the waste and make the cities this waste free, pollution free. But unfortunately, Trivandrum has not succeeded in that. I don't think Trivandrum will be a beautiful place or the same Trivandrum that I have seen in the younger days. So, preservation of nature is a habit. We should develop this habit from the very young age. A mistake that we have done in our education system is this. We have taken the students into classrooms away from nature. These students, they have less contact with nature. We have even air-conditioned buses and air-conditioned classrooms. So they step into the bus from the houses and then the bus takes into the schools and they sit in this classroom. They don't know anything about environment. But in the younger days, if speaking from my life, I have seen cows in my own house. I know from where the milk comes from. But for the modern boy, milk means a cover of milk that you get from the shop. And crows, they were all friends with us because we used to talk to the crows, and then of course parrots and all these miners and all this used to come to our garden. So we had a nature in us. So, but unfortunately, we have taken all the school children to classrooms and they sit there and they study, mug up everything. Even they may be studying about environment and beauty of nature and all these things. But in their brain, there is no space for them for enjoying nature. That's why many students who come out from our universities are mechanical. Just like in Shantiniketan, Rabindranath Tagore did a very good thing. He asked all the students, go out, sit in the nature and study. That will make them nature conscious.